Hello guys, welcome back to another episode of Okuma Hawaiian. My name's Kawai. A little bit of a different episode. It's an episode that I promised you guys I was going to try and test out the Hawaiian Custom and compare it to my other two rods. So it's a little windy. I'm hoping the audio is going to pick this up. But basically I'm going to be throwing out the Lucky Craft 110 Flash Minnow SP, Battlestar 115, and the yo-zuri Hydro Minnow LC 170 floating. And we're going to be using the 9-foot power stick, my 10-foot Team Daiwa surf rod, and the 10.7 Okuma Hawaiian Custom. I should also say I'm going to be testing this all with my Shimano Stratic 3000 FM, and I'm going to be using the same reel for all poles, so it's all pretty equal. Right now I got 30-pound test braided line on here, so each pole is going to have the same reel. I'll post up a description of all of the ratings for all of the poles up here as well. And we're going to try and do this because I look like a fool inside of a field testing out fishing right now. So stick around and we say go. Because I got 3 different size poles, I'm going to put a marker on the ground to try and keep things on a level playing field and cast them all in the same spot. Also, if you're looking at new poles, it's also important to check out the butt sections.
That's what she said!
Because this is my 9-footer, the 10.7, and the 10-footer. And you can see I have them all lined up right at the reel seat. And even though a pole might be longer, it might be longer in the butt section versus the top half of your pole. One thing, keep it to account when you're thinking of, oh, I'm getting an 11-foot pole, but really, from your reel seat, you're shooting like 10.5, depending on the length of this. I should also mention that I'm throwing this without the treble hooks, so it is gonna alter the distance a little bit, but I didn't want to have to keep digging it out of the grass. All right, so there's my marker. I'm gonna be putting my foot on the side like this, or maybe at an angle like that to cast. And the way we're gonna do this is we're gonna be throwing out 3 casts per lure, and we're gonna get the average. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my reel and place it right at the end of the tape. I have 3 colored flags that we're gonna be putting down. The blue flag represents the power stick, orange flag is the Okuma Hawaiian Custom, silver is the Daiwa surf rod. Now we're gonna check out the footage by using this walker out here. And I'm just gonna walk it straight out to the middle of the lure. There's my lure. That's about halfway of the lure right there. So we're looking at 93 feet. Okay, we're gonna take, or oops, I grabbed the wrong flag. Make sure you grab the right colored flag if you're doing this. I think we're gonna place it, let's place it right at the head. First, it's 93 feet. Woo! It's a little windy. So like I said, right now, a good practice. It's basically like I'm getting an onshore wind and we're gonna cast into the wind. Boom. Pull down. Did it go farther? Yeah, a little bit. This is my handsome, helpful assistant, Ikaya. Yeah, it did go a little bit farther. So we're gonna shoot these 3 to get an average because the wind could affect it. That one is 98 feet. All right, so we got 93 feet plus 98 feet plus 91 feet. We redid this one because the wind was really acting up on us. So we got that, oops, divide that by 3, average is 94 feet. So now we'll put in our calculations to try and get yardage. So take the 1, carry over, times 3. Psych, I'm not that type of Asian. What is 94 feet to yards? 31 yards. Kind of weak sauce. I was hoping it was a little bit farther than that. While they're getting me the footage, I think the power stick and the Okuma surf rod should be pretty close specs to the Rockaway SP that there is. That's the 2 most popular rods that I see right now, is the Rockaway SP and the Hawaiian Custom. Originally I was debating between the Okuma Rockaway and the Hawaiian Custom, because I have these medium rods right here, I figure it's pretty close to the SP, so I want to try something different and see if this really does cast a lot better with the lures. It's only fitting that the Hawaiian Custom. I did try using it once in the ocean so far. You can look at my previous video up here. But it takes a lot of finesse. It's really a lot more sensitive than I'm used to. So sometimes it would actually end up getting wrapped around the tip of the rod when I was walking with it, you know, or if I'm trying to set the lure to get all of the weights back down to the back end of the lure, sometimes it would wrap around the tip. So I still have to get used to using the finesse rod, I guess you would say. But so far, it definitely does look like it shoots it a lot farther. But we'll find out now. All right, now we're gonna switch up to the Battlestar. Some of the most popular fishing lures inside of the saltwater forums have been the Battlestar and the Lucky Craft 110. That's why I'm using those. The yo-zuri 170, a lot of locals around here like to use that one, so we're gonna try these lures out. Okay, let's try. Right there. Oh, at least it is farther. All right. Each lure that we throw, it's gonna be heavier, so it should go farther. Nice. We're at 114. I should also mention that I have a pretty whippy cast, so depending how you cast, it could go farther, it could go shorter. This is just bro science right now, so I hope this entertains you. All right, change it up to the 170. This baby should fly. That was a good one, boy.
I just ate your line like a monster.
Yes, you did. Thank you, Ikaya.
You're welcome.
Thankfully, that was the last cast, and here's the results. This is roughly where we're at. This was LC110. This was the Okuma Hawaiian Custom. There's a lot more wind picking up in the afternoon, so that's why this one could be closer. That was the power stick. The silver one up here, I think it's this one up here. This is gonna be the surf rod, Okuma surf rod. Then we got the Battlestar 115. So that is the Okuma surf rod. Then we got the power pole, power stick here, Hawaiian Custom up front with the Battlestar 115. I was honestly hoping for it to be a little bit further or more further than that compared to my 9-footer. And this is the far one, the 170. So this is the shortest, actually. This is the Hawaiian Custom 170 here, followed by the power stick there, my little videographer over there. And way over there is the Okuma surf rod. Not really the results that I was expecting, but we're gonna go home, get together all of the numbers, try to get the average number, and then we'll compare them. I don't know if you can see it or not, but that's what our grouping looks like. Man, that was not what I was expecting. After reviewing, all of the footages, I thought, or I was hoping, that the Hawaiian Custom was going to blow the other two rods out of the water. I knew it for sure would be at least longer than the 9-footer just because the length itself. I knew the 10-footer would give it, a good run for its money. I didn't expect the Daiwa to do that well. The Daiwa is actually my main bait and weight rod that I use because it definitely does cast a mile when I have a 2-ounce weight on that thing. And because it has such a longer butt section, that's why I use it for my bait and weight. Honestly, that's why I don't really use it that much for whipping or casting lures. I tried using it a few times and it just kept hitting my backpack. Anytime, I was holding the pole, the butt section would just end up hitting my bag. So, it was just driving me kind of crazy. So that's why I mainly stuck with my 9-footer. And this power stick, man, this is my baby. The only reason why I stopped using it is because the top section kind of slips around where the eyes will kind of twist when I'm casting. But overall, man, this is my favorite pole. I originally first got onto this pole from Matt's from Fisherman's Life because he was taking this with him on the cliffs catching rockfish all the time. That's still my dream, to get out there and catch some fish from the cliffs. Overall, I love this rod because it's 1 to 5 ounces, so I can use it for bait and weight. It still casts pretty close to the Hawaiian Custom out there. One thing to remember if you guys are just getting into this and getting to the surf fishing in California, a lot of the fish end up being close to shore because they're going after those sand crabs. So the perch, the stripers, the corbinas, even halibut sometimes, they'll all be kind of close to shore. If they're chasing the anchovies close to shore or they're just going for the sand crabs, remember the sand crabs are right at shore. So all these fish are actually all pretty close. And when I first moved here, I actually used a 7-foot rod and I caught my first perch off of it. I guarantee that thing's getting casted a lot shorter than I could with my 9-footer or, these 10-footers that I have now. I even use that 7-footer to catch trout out there. One thing to remember is that the fish, they don't know how much you spend on your rod. They don't know how expensive your rod is. If you are looking for that farther cast, the main things to focus on would be your line selection, picking a thinner line so that way it's easier to throw out past your guides. A long pole, of course, it doesn't really matter what brand you use. And making sure that the lure rating on top of that pole is going to be close to what you're throwing. The main reason why I decided to try out the Hawaiian Custom was because it does that 1/2 ounce to 2 ounce. So 2 ounce, when I'm throwing the Carolina rig, it's usually about 1 ounce to 2 ounces. And with the 1/2 ounce, I can use this to throw out the lures, the Lucky Crafts, all the lures that we just tested. I want to try and change it up, and I want to try and get these lures, as far as I can out there. So that way the lure will have more time in the water for a fish to come up and swipe the thing versus the bait and weight where the fish, hopefully swims by. This one I'm going to be walking by, and hopefully getting that time inside of the water, a lot longer. But this video is about the Hawaiian Custom and trying to compare it to my other rods. So is this the best rod that you can get? Honestly, I don't think so. And the reason why is because really it depends on you. It depends on how the rod feels to you and what you're used to casting. This rod for me, I'm used to throwing the medium heavy actions, the fast actions where it's, it's a quick hook set versus this type of rod where, the tip is super flexible, it takes about halfway down the rod for it to actually, get that full bend in the thing. It's kind of, I would say, if you guys know the Ugly Stick GX2 and the Claris, Shimano Claris, this rod fits in between there is what I would say. It's not the type of rod that I'm used to, but I wanted to try and give it a shot and see if I can get used to the thing. So pros and cons to this rod. One con for me, and it messes with my OCD, is if you can see this, it says Okuma Hawaiian Custom here, and the Hawaiian Islands are upside down. Why would you do that? Why wouldn't you just have it, going straight? I don't understand. So that really bothers my OCD, that I wish that part was fixed. The other part that I don't really care for, is more that I'm not used to, is that with heavier lures, heavier weights, the line ends up getting twisted around the tip, kind of as I mentioned before. That's probably more my fault, trying to figure out, how to use the rod. But overall, that's the only complaints that I have. I do like that the butt section is a lot shorter. So even though it's a 10'7" rod, it holds just like my 9-footer. So, I have easy mobility with my bag all around. And even though this video shows that, this rod didn't blow the other rods out of the water, I will say that this will get you more consistent casts in the same area. And I've been using this a few times now, and it's definitely made so that you can keep casting over and over and over. Even though, let's say, it is the same distance as a Daiwa surf rod, this thing, I can keep casting it over and over because it's like butter. I don't even have to whip it hard. I can just, do a light cast and it will just cast far. It may not get farther, but once again, that's probably my fault. But I can just consistently keep throwing it, and it's not gonna wear my arm. With the surf rod, you know, I am kind of just pulling my left hand, you know, just kind of launching that thing. With this rod, I will say that it is good for lures if you want to keep casting over and over, that 1,000 casts that we're all trying to get. But like I said, I won't tell you that it's the best rod for you because it all depends on your casting style, what kind of fish you want to go for, you know, how much weight you need to throw to get out there to the fish that you want to try and catch. But if you are looking for that type of rod that is lightweight, can still cast your Carolina rig with that 2-ounce rating, it is worth the money, I think. But for me, I am trying to get into throwing lures more, but I always have that Carolina rig, you know, always handy just in case. But I will say, if I got the Okuma Rockaway SP, I'm pretty sure I'd be happy with it because it's just like my other medium rods. But just as a disclaimer, remember this is bro science. The footages that happened in this video, there was a lot of factors that could have affected it. My kids, you know, rolling that footage wheel, they were running with it, you know, sometimes they lift it up and put it back down. Sometimes, you know, it could be because I was casting so much over and over that, you know, my arms were just getting tired, you know, maybe I didn't have the full rotation when I was doing some of them. And the wind for sure played a major factor in this thing, blowing kind of onshore towards me, fighting that lure, trying to get it out there. But like I said, sometimes you don't need to cast far. The fish are gonna come close to you here on California surf. I hope this video helped you. If not, you know, at least entertain you. But please don't forget to like and subscribe, and you're not gonna wanna miss the next video, I guarantee it. She might try to do another run. Oh shoot, there it goes. So mahalos for watching. Catch you guys in the next one. Cat in. Bye.